the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. He can breathe fire. He can shoot eye lasers. Look, there's no doubting that this guy is a huge part of American Godzilla history. Yet it's surprising how little merchandise exists of this Godzilla. I'm going to show you a lot of it in this video. But first, welcome back to Cooking with MIB. And you know what I hate? Cooking! Those people who spend half a day to make a meal only to spend 5 minutes eating it? Not me. I am legitimately excited about today's sponsor, CookUnity. CookUnity is the first chef-to-consumer platform delivering you freshly prepared, pre-selected meals right to your door every week. Yeah, you can select from a robust and ever-changing menu of handcrafted meals. Filter it to your taste, vegan, paleo, gluten-free, whatever's your style, man. And these aren't cheapo TV dinners, these are meals cooked by real chefs with real ingredients, nothing artificial. These meals come to your door already fully cooked. All you have to do is heat them up. And voila! A premium meal in minutes. All of these meals feel like they were ordered from a nice restaurant, and I mean that sincerely. I've been eating good. Subscriptions are super flexible, pause, skip weeks, or cancel anytime. No more cleanup, no more meal planning, and spending a fortune at the grocery store. Forget about the takeout. Go to cookunity.com/MIB or click the link in the description and use my code MIB50 to get 50% off your first order of CookUnity meals to try them out for yourself. That is a steal. Go to cookunity.com/MIB or click the link in the description. Playtime! Yay! Founded in 1957, Hanna-Barbera was an American animation studio who changed animation history for better and for worse. They had an emphasis on quantity over quality, embracing every animation shortcut in the book to churn out low-budget cartoons for TV as fast as possible. Over the decades, they gave us now famous properties such as Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, The Flintstones, and many other original cartoons, and many derivatives of those original cartoons. But in a more unusual move for the company, Hanna-Barbera teamed up with Toho to produce an animated Godzilla series from 1978 to 1979. 26 episodes of this show were made, featuring Godzilla, but really starring the crew of this research vessel Calico and this smaller Godzilla named Godzuki. What? The first episode of the show, The Firebird, would get an official VHS release a little later in 1987, distributed by Kids Classics. I always felt like on this art, Godzuki looks like a tumor growing out of Godzilla's back. And then in 1989, a foreign VHS dropped with The Firebird again, as well as the second episode, The Earth Eater. So this one's got the first 2 episodes of the series. In 2006 and 2007, the series would trickle to official home media with 3 volumes of DVDs by Classic Media. Each volume would only have 4 or 5 episodes, and all 3 together would only make up the show's first 13-episode season, leaving the show's entire second season unavailable on official home media. These discs are becoming increasingly rare and expensive, particularly Volume 3, although as of this video, Volume 2 is creeping up there as well. For those who grew up with the show, there's a fond nostalgia factor, and the show is not without its charm. It's certainly a major part of American Godzilla history, which is why it's surprising how little merchandise came out of the series, both when it aired and through the decades since. There were stuffed bean dolls of Godzilla and Godzuki made by Knickerbocker. And if you get a little confused, they have their names printed on their chests, so you know who's who. You know, like they did in the show. These were sold in this display, saying you could flip them, flop them, or plop them down. Godzilla is the green one, and he's sticking out a forked tongue like a snake. Hiss! Or maybe that's supposed to represent fire. Godzuki was made all yellow. In fact, even on the display art, they turned him yellow to match the toy. At least Godzuki has his wings here, and they gave him a smile so he appears more friendly. And good news, I can confirm you can flip them, flop them, and let me see real quick. Yep, plop them down. Yeah, so these are the Knickerbocker toys, probably the most substantial of the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla toys to come out at the time. But there were also a lot of stickers. Stickers sold on sheets of various sizes and configurations. I don't own every configuration, but I do have plenty to share. Officially, these are called three-dimensional stickers, and this might surprise you, but these stickers stick on anything. Who'd have thunk? Before we get to the stickers themselves, let's appreciate the card art. Not quite Hanna-Barbera Godzilla here, not quite any Godzilla. Look at this one. He's got yellow dorsal plates. The stickers are cool because they have the human characters too. Although the character of Brock Borden has been turned into a white guy, which is kind of unfortunate. Godzuki looks right in most of these stickers, but Godzilla is all over the place. Look at this one. Look at this one. Look at this one. This particular sheet has some really interesting stuff going on. First of all, it includes Glump, who's not even in the Godzilla cartoon. Yeah, Glump is from a whole different Hanna-Barbera show, Valley of the Dinosaurs. Well, too bad, now Toho owns Glump. And here we have an Allosaurus. The Allosaurus was a real dinosaur, but too bad, now Toho owns Allosaurus too. Godzilla and Godzuki have had some magnetic keychains available, otherwise known as a chain for your keys, in case I was being unclear. This set includes Godzilla and Godzuki in various poses. Look at Godzuki here. He looks like he's presenting. Many of these are repeats of the images we've seen on the stickers. The cards got that yellow dorsal plate Godzilla again too. Hanna-Barbera loved to present their cartoons as one big shared universe with many crossovers over the decades, but unfortunately, Godzilla didn't seem to be allowed to participate in those crossovers. I would have loved to have seen him in Wacky Races. But in the late 1970s, Hanna-Barbera did offer collectible stamps that would go into this book called The Funtastic World of Hanna-Barbera. And in this set, there were 3 stamps dedicated to Godzilla, which I have here. Godzilla's head is stamp 58. Godzuki's is stamp 59. And then the human cast is stamp 60. The Sphinx blog has a photo of the Godzilla page in the stamp book, as well as how the page looks when the stamps are applied. I'm currently aware of 4 Godzilla coloring and activity books: Dot to Dot, Search a Word, Puzzlers, and Jokes and Riddles. The good news is that for just $4, you can purchase Jokes and Riddles entirely scanned from retro reprints. And this is the coloring book with all of those awful, awful jokes like, what does Godzilla dislike? Being called just another pretty face. There's no connection to the cartoon show besides Godzilla's design here, and it's amazing how Godzuki doesn't appear in here once. Despite the fact that the back of the book has a picture of him and says, join Godzilla and Godzuki. Lies! The real joke is on us. But we do get these 2 baby Godzillas, so that's canon. That's canon now. Godzuki is on Viewmaster products, but not the traditional reels. I'm gonna do this part quick because I am planning on giving these their own video. For the Viewmaster Double View, there's a cartridge with Mr. Magoo and Godzilla. The Godzilla story is an abridged version of the episode The Horror of Forgotten Island, where Godzilla fights a Cyclops monster. There's also a cartridge for Viewmaster Showbeam called Godzilla Godzuki. This cartridge is weird because it's that same story that was on the Viewmaster with all that stolen Marvel Comics art, and it has nothing to do with the Hanna-Barbera cartoon until the last few slides, which is a brief photo gallery of Godzuki. We're going to pivot into the modern era of merchandise for this show, as well as some other cool collector's ideas, but first, let's do a Playtime Trivia. In the Hanna-Barbera cartoon, Godzilla is voiced by actor Ted Cassidy. You might know him as Lurch on The Addams Family. He's voiced many other characters over the years. Which character on this list did Ted Cassidy voice? A. Galactus, B. Skeletor, C. Grouchy Smurf, or D. Iceman? The answer in just a moment. We're making MIB plushies! Yeah, that's the big news. The channel has teamed up with Gimme Swag to launch a campaign to make plushies of MIB. So now you can cuddle me every night. Or punch me when you don't like my videos. This is a crowdfunding effort, which means there's a minimum of pre-orders we need to hit for these to go into production. If you want to be alerted of when pre-orders are available or just get updates on design or how things are going, please sign up for the email list in the link in this video's description. It's right under the sponsor link. Just drop your email and you'll be the first to know everything about these plushies. And if this goes well, we've talked about variants of the plushies and we've also talked about vinyl figures. But in order to get there, we just need this campaign to work. So please, it really helps me in the channel. Just sign up for the mailing list using the link in this video's description, and let's bring MIB plushies into the world! Welcome back! Ted Cassidy was the first person to voice a Galactus in the 1967 Fantastic Four cartoon series, also produced by Hanna-Barbera. Back to the toys. In 2008, as part of their Godzilla Origins line, Toyvolt released this stuffed Godzuki. It's quite a surprise, and its likeness is pretty well done. He's green, he's got his big goofy smile, the dorsal plates, the wings. This came out a long time ago, and I still can't believe it exists. It's pretty big, too. Just look at how it compares to the original Knickerbocker plush. Mine still has the tag with this art of Godzuki looking like a Simpsons character. The tag identifies Godzuki as Godzilla's nephew, and mentions the Godzilla Power Hour show by name, giving a plot summary and mentioning characters. This is a rare case of official Hanna-Barbera Godzilla merch being made in the modern era. In this 2017 issue of DC's Scooby-Doo Team-Up, many Hanna-Barbera monsters appear in the story, and Godzilla gets a one-panel cameo. This feels like something that was snuck in without Toho's permission, but he's there, so it's worth mentioning if you want to get a DC comic book with Godzilla in it. There are plenty of unofficial attempts at Hanna-Barbera Godzilla statues or 3D print jobs. I purchased these guys from Gothic Studios, and I wanted to show them to you, because they're probably the closest to screen accurate of any of the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla stuff I've got. They're also big. Here's the Godzilla. I love this profile particularly. When you look at him, you know right away which Godzilla this represents. It's just very well done. Godzuki is just perfect. He's in a great pose and he looks like he just flew right out of the TV screen. I only wish he were a slightly lighter shade of green. The animation colors can be inconsistent, but usually Godzuki is a lighter green than Godzilla, and I wish that were reflected here. But that's just a nitpick. I really do love these. In 2022, as part of a series called Godzilla Museum, Mondo released this variation of Godzilla called Godzilla the Animated Series 1970s. Now, clearly, this is based on the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, but there are some very strange things going on with this release. On the packaging, the actual show is never named, and the references to it are vague. It's a far cry from that Toyvolt tag. And I'm not sure why this box is so coy about what this Godzilla is based on. And while this release had me very excited at first, I'm not very in love with it. The colors are far off from the cartoon. This looks more like Reptar colors than Godzilla colors. The mold is just okay. I find the profile to be a little off. I do like how these black lines create an illusion of a drawing, but I think the Gothic Studios Godzilla looks much closer to the actual Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, even if neither quite nails the color. It's better than nothing, but this Mondo vinyl is sort of a letdown in my opinion. Now that Super 7 is releasing all sorts of retro Godzilla figures, it sure would be great if they took a swing at the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla. Some reaction figures of the humans would be a nice change of pace, maybe even a calico ship they can go in. But of course, they need the blessing of the people upstairs who, for some reason, are usually reluctant to provide that blessing. If you're obsessed with the show, there's other types of collectibles you can hunt down. For example, one of the show's animators, Tom Cook, regularly appears in conventions, and I had him sign this image for me back in 2015. Other neat things you can find are actual animation cells from the series. I picked this one up some time ago, which includes the pencil art of a Godzilla thumping his chest, and here's some dripping water as a separate layer. And then here's the actual cell art, which is also separated into two layers. It's really neat. And if you look, you'll find these pop up on all sorts of different websites. As I write this, there's one on eBay right now that's just cell art of this computer. But my point is, there are other things you can collect outside of the official merch to celebrate this show. You might even find in-house sell sheets or style guides, stuff like that. But still, it's shocking how little of this Godzilla is out there in the world. Tell me your favorite piece of Hanna-Barbera Godzilla merch, if you had any of this, if you know something I missed, and what kind of stuff you'd like to see in the future. Until next time. Special thanks to my patrons, including Akno Goji. He's in the tier where I say his name, so Akno Goji, Akno Goji, Akno Goji! And everyone else.